shelter next year. Bring something to help contribute so that we have a cumulative effort turn this park into a city. Because back in Michigan, we used to do something sort of similar to this. We had a place called Rainbow Farm. Rainbow Farm was a private property next to a state park where when people came in for a Memorial Day weekend or Labor Day weekend for the hemp bait or roach roast event, and you would have this place fill up with 10, 20,000 hippies. And they would come together, there would be vendors, and there would be streets that would spring up, there would be bands playing 24 hours a day. And people came to learn about what they could do to help the movement. In Michigan's case, that was the statewide ballot initiative. But in other places, you have other angles, other things you're trying to do. So the gatherings are the most important things we have. You know, it's a chance, again, to create freedom for ourselves. Some people buy their freedom. We got a man down there whose daddy bought him his freedom. He didn't have to work a real job all his life. And now he's in the most phony job of all. And we're wondering whether we can get Terry to get into that same seat and turn into a phony himself. Well, let's pray not. So some people have their freedom bought for them. And that's W. Other people declare themselves free. They simply say, I will not live in fear. I will not live in poverty. I will not live without a choice. I will not live silently. I declare myself free. Can I hear you people declare yourselves free to say yes? And then there are some people who are free because they have nothing else. The homeless people have a level of freedom that none of us have. The homeless people can make it to this park every year for smoking. They don't have to spend hundreds of dollars and rent a car and go to a rigmarole. They can just be here.
You know what I'm saying?
And I tell you something about homeless people too. In Detroit at least, 3 homeless people who woke up and found me putting together a rally in their front yard did more to help the movement, were more energetic, more intelligent, had better ideas than a dozen suburban white activists from Normal. So, freedom breeds freedom is what I'm getting to. The more freedom you have, the more freedom you get. The greatest solution to a democracy in trouble is more freedom. This democracy is in trouble. And over what now? Over a plant? You know, I don't even like marijuana. Did I ever tell you that? We got another cover here under the tree. I'm just letting him know, hey, I don't use marijuana. I do not use marijuana. I don't use marijuana. And you shouldn't use marijuana either. Marijuana is a stupid thing. Marijuana is a joke. Marijuana is a lie. Because marijuana is just a word. And cannabis is the real word. So if you want to talk to me about pot, I don't want to hear you use that word marijuana. I mean, hell, I thought only cops use that word anymore. No. I'm an enlightened and a self-empowered hippie. I don't use marijuana because it's racist hate speech. Goddamn racist hate speech. And the marijuana law is the last of the Jim Crow laws. Nixon tried to cover that up with the Controlled Substances Act, but he kept the same language that was passed by Congress after 45 minutes of racially motivated debate, where they told the American Medical Association to bugger off when they were going to complain about their cannabis. Was this the same substance as cannabis? Oh yes, it is. Aren't you aware that if you were to illegalize cannabis, you would wreck medicine in America? What did you do? Some people who were really energetic leaders, but then got caught up in life and had to drop out for a while. But we're going to bring some more of these people back, but we're also going to make more leaders. Because that's, if you're cool enough to show up here today, you're cool enough to put on one of these things wherever you're from. So think about that, and the best opportunity to do that's the first Saturday of May. And you get a hold of the Cures Not Wars website, Dana at Cures Not Wars, and post up saying you want to do an event in your town, or if there's already one in your town, of course, go and help. because we need more people to do this. And we got to get over the racial hate. We got to get over these angles that keep us down, and the bigotry involved with prohibition. So we got to show our pot pride. Anybody feel like doing a chant for a minute? Well, I think who's going to speak next year? Because we got some people. How about some chanting here? I want to hear 4 words. I got pot pride.
I got pot pride too.
All right, just one at a time. I got pot pride. 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 I got hearing aid problem or something here. Right? I got pot pride. I got pot pride.
Yeah, I want to do multitasking. That's good though, man.
If you want to tune out, go ahead and be a junkie. Take any of that addictive crap.
I got it like a wrong one. I'm not sure if it's
But if you want to tune in, smoke some pot. Or do a hallucinogen, because pot is a hallucinogen. We found that out now from the research. And that's something that takes a lot longer to explain. If you talk to me in person, I'll tell you the melatonin, tryptamine, ibogaine connection. It is the proof that pot is not addictive. That pot would be impossible to have an addiction happen from. However, pot is also anti-addictive. So now I'm saying pot is the anti-drug. Because look at it in my own life. My drug education came from older brothers and sisters, a hippie community around the Chicago scene, coming back with stories about the Democratic National Convention and then reading about it later in the blacklisted news. And so my drug education separated hard drugs from pot, so my drug education made sense. My drug education turned a teenage alcoholic into a pothead. And that's what we're talking about. It's also not the gateway drug, it's the gatekeeper drug. The only gateway is the lies out there from the DARE programs telling our kids that all drugs are the same. If you're on pot, you're on drugs. So what's that mean? I'm not going to do heroin and coke and all this other shit too, because I'm already on drugs. That's called psychological warfare. You can read books about how you pre-program young minds to go the wrong way if they find themselves in a situation that you as the authority don't approve of. Pot is the antidote to that. And ibogaine is the antidote to hard drugs. It's thankfully now in FDA approval trials. We're going to finish the phase 1 study, but there's 2 more phases and a lot of opportunities for the government and drug companies to continue stalling ibogaine, perhaps for an additional 10 years, while the next male enhancement drug skips right through, and 20 years from now people will be having strokes and shit from taking it. Oh, we didn't know about that. So, there you go. We have a situation where our government has pushed us into an addictive society with the 2 #1 legal drugs being gateway addictive drugs, telling us that pot is the worst thing, running ads on TV that don't mention any other drugs. I guess heroin and coke are a problem. They don't have to run ads about that anymore. No, it's all about the pot. So study the opposition, point out the ridiculousness of it. I'm going to end with my own version of a drug ad. I don't know if you heard this ad on this coast, but there was the one with the little kid reciting the ABC song. This one heard that just so I know. Okay, that's simply. Maybe that hasn't been played. Well, in my ears it sounded like this. A, B, C, and NBC. Broadcast live by ONDCP. CIA-NIDA. FBI-PFDA. Now I know about the war on drugs, you see. Don't you DAREBS me. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks for giving me a warm first full stage opportunity to speak at this beautiful, beautiful Seattle Hempfest. Stay high, stay free. It's the best way to do both things.
As we say, the education is the theme of the day. We all got a lot to learn here, and we all have a lot to unlearn here. It almost seems like there's more misinformation about cannabis that we have to unlearn than there are facts about cannabis that we got to find out scientifically. So you're a long ways closer to the truth if you discard the lies. So that's what we're here to do. We're not just here to learn, we're here to discard the lies, to get rid of our conspiracy training, to get us back to our natural state. A lot of things people don't know in this country that they oughta. A lot of people who say they're Christians and say that they're all concerned about the 10 Commandments on courthouse lawns, and they don't obey the 10 Commandments. They don't even know the 10 Commandments. You know, the hidden truth like Saturday is the Sabbath, and that the Sunday is just some pagan relic from another era. I mean, you can really empower yourself when you can get around a lie and get back to a truth like that. And I know it's helped me in my own life, but we have pot pride here because the truth is on our side here. So when you see a cop walking through here, you know he's there doing something legitimate. He's not there oppressing anybody. Now come to Michigan, where I'm from, at the Ann Arbor Hash Bash, where every cop there busts one person, it seems. They get their quota in, and out of 1,000 people, maybe 1% get arrested for pot, or actually in most cases it's possession of alcohol. And it doesn't slow the rally down, and the police have learned that. They learned that you can't repress something like this. They've tried it in Washington, D.C., where they would ride horses through the crowd. And all the people in the crowd did was yell, "Hey, bad cop, no donut. You're not busting me today." And so they stop, and so we have in this country 3 annual protest events that are the longest running consecutive annual protests over any issue, and that issue just happens to be cannabis liberation. And this is the 4th one. A lot of people don't know, though, in Washington, D.C. in 1970, the Yippies marched through the reflecting pool, protesting the Vietnam War, protesting for cannabis liberation, and protesting against CIA heroin. And now here we are, coming out of the CIA crack era of the 80s, and coming into a new era of these mind control drugs that they sell us on TV. So we got lies that we have to unlearn on a daily basis. Every time they come up with this new fascist technology to capture us. And what is it like? Example. I mean, let's go through an example here. The TV ads they run. How come when they run their anti-drug ads, they never use the word addiction? Isn't that kind of strange? I thought addiction was the problem, not pot. But no, we get these ads about pot. And what are the ads like? Oh, they're very credible, I'm sure. No, not too much. They seem to backfire every time. So we've got the ad with the kid who's on the basketball court, and the coach drags him off, and oh no, little Billy's can't play at the championship game, and so he's blown it for the team. Well, just tell them it's about prohibition. They'll understand. Or little Billy waiting on the corner pathetically with his ball mitt, and he's wondering where his loved one is to pick him up. Well, maybe that loved one got picked up by the police on the way to get him. But just tell little Billy it's about prohibition. He'll understand. He'll understand that prohibition's a bunch of shit, and it needs to stop. So we're here, we're high, and we're used to it. And we're showing it, and we're growing it. And somebody grew a big old reefer up there on the stage. I love that one. I missed last year. It was covered up. They didn't want it to get wet. And this one, I guess, this one still got wet. I guess I bored it to death. So we're going to have to relight the big joint up here. But thanks a lot for letting me on and chew on your ear for a little bit. And happy Hempfest. Stay high, stay free. It's the best way to do both things. Cures, not wars.
Thank you very much.